All right, well, what I'm looking at today here is a 1991 Ford F150. It's a 6-cylinder model, which doesn't really matter because I'm talking about the air conditioner. And what the problem was is the AC blower was not working. And in this case here, what I found was a lot of corrosion. If you look inside there, you'll see that the connectors are all rusted and ratty and ragged. Everything is in pretty dismal shape. This is the fan switch plug, which I put some grease in there and I cleaned those up because we're not going to replace it because it still works good. It's just got really hot, okay? Because these really bad connections caused lots of resistance and overheated the plug. That's what the plug looks like. I'm getting a little sunlight there. That plug got all melted. So I'm going to replace that plug. I'm just going to kind of go over a little bit about that. To get to this bezel and this radio stuff, it just pops off, and you'll have to feed those radio wires out and unplug them as you go. Most of the radios in these old trucks have been replaced, so this one here, it has a conversion harness on it with a little slack. That helps out a whole lot, okay? If you don't have that, then you're going to have to mess with it, quite a bit more with your little fingers behind it because it's tough getting into it. Even to get this thing to come out this far is tricky. Okay, you need to pop some of those little wire looms loose, like there's one there. You need to pop them all loose so that you can get it out and move it around. And this is as far out as this wire will come right here. I'm going to have to splice that new wire on with pretty close quarters. So I'm going to show some of the other parts here real quick and get this wrapped up. All right, so this is where the fuses are located. Oh, let me get a little farther back here. Under the steering wheel, you've got a panel here. And you've got some of these little quarter turn doodads here that you just turn them a quarter turn and they pop loose like so. Okay, and the fuse that we're looking at on here is going to be fuse number 9, heater AC heater, fuse number 9. Okay, and this is it right here. It's a 30 amp fuse, and it was pretty crusty too, and I put some lube on that, anti-corrosive lube, and worked that fuse in and out a bunch of times. It got hot, but it wasn't melted and completely destroyed yet. All right, and so in the effort to diagnose this situation, you're going to need to unplug the blower motor here. Here's the plug for the blower motor, okay? And all these plugs can be purchased. They're available at the auto parts because obviously, they get nasty and corroded and they get all messed up. So that's the blower motor. So if you need to disconnect that, that's what you got to disconnect. Now, to get to that resistor pack for the multi-speed fan control, I think it sets in there like this. Yep. I think this is the original one too. But to get to this thing, what you're going to need to do is move these heater hoses. Get these heater hoses and all this junk over here and get everything out of the way as much as possible. Okay? And that plug is really brittle, so don't worry about breaking those little tabs off because they're going to bust right off. And if you don't like that, then go buy a new one because this old stuff here, it's always going to bust off. So this has been on this truck for a long time. It's all oxidized, and you'll see the edge here, it has two little locating notches. That little locating notch there, and there's one down there. What you need to do is put this resistor pack in, put it on there flush, okay, and start these screws after you get it on there flush, because if you start the screws afterwards, you won't be able to line it up on those two locating tabs. It'll stop you. So, and do not turn the heater on or anything on with that resistor pack out like this, just out in the open, okay? If it's out in the open like this, it won't get the airflow across it. required to keep it cool, okay? When the blower motor is on, it blows air across this, keeps the temperature right, okay? If you just have it out here with no airflow, it's going to burn it up. It's going to, this little diode or whatever this resistor thing is here, it's going to get all melted and blow up. So, and these things cost 30 bucks, so that's not funny. So don't screw that thing up if you can possibly get away with it. So anyway, the screw on the bottom on that there is difficult to get to, but I took it out and I removed it with my hand. With my fingers, I could get to it with 2 fingers. So if I could do it, almost anybody could do that. So you just have to be patient, okay? And I'm going to show a little bit about redoing that wire, and that'll be about it. Okay, so what you'll see here is we've got the right plug, but the wires are all different colors. And that's okay. That's all right. I'm going to do them one at a time. One of these wires may have power on it, and you don't want to go just a snipping in and chopping through all these. You can remove the fuse, disconnect the battery, whatever you got to do to prevent blowing things up. But I'm just going to do them one at a time. And I have some small pliers, some small end cutter pliers like these that I'm going to use to cut those. And then I have some wire strippers. I use these type of wire strippers, okay? These do the job, man. These do the job really good. I've done thousands and thousands of wires with that. And of course, these kind of crimpers. Old Kleins, they'll do the job. All right, so I've got my wire stripper connected there. And I've got it on one that fits the insulation. So the insulation is different on some wires. Okay, and you'll see how this works. Just pops it off and that's it. Got me a nice stripped wire there. And I'll crimp my new one. I think that's the only wire that matches, is that orange one. All the other ones are all different funny colors. So, but that's fine. No problem with that. Alright, so I got my crimper on there. Can't do it left-handed, but I got it crimped pretty good there. And you don't want to mess around with these. You want to crush them pretty good, and you got to test them after you do it. You have to pull on it. You have to pull on it and make sure that sucker is crimped good, because if it's not crushed properly, it will come out. You'll have lots of problems. So that's all we're going to do on this today, and I hope this helps somebody. Y'all have a good day.